What's up, y'all? It's TC time. What's up, y'all? It's TC time. Sit right back and have a good time. Watch this, build this, bam, bam. All right, guys, this is video number 2 on Buff Like the King series. First video was an introduction, and I'm not going to go over any of that again. So if you want to know what the introduction is, you got to go to the playlist and check it out. Today we're going to talk about what kind of equipment you need, what kind of pads you need, what kind of polish you need. Now I've set all these pads out just to kind of give some examples, okay? There's basically, you got 3 different types of pads. You got a heavy cut foam pad and a medium cut foam pad, and then you have a finishing pad. Now, you also have, the old wool pad. This is pretty much basically hint all you need. But over the years, I've tried them all. I've tried all these different pads out, and basically what I do with these pads now is when they're wore out, like these are wore out. When they're pretty much wore out, I'll take my pads and I'll cut them down, and I'll make smaller pads out of them. And the reason why I do that is because we're going to use 2 machines when we polish. Okay. These smaller pads that on the wore out machine, you can buy a brand new one and do it too. Like, anyways, we're going to use this on the second machine. All right, now the pads that I'm going to personally use whenever we do this. Now, you're going to go to the store and you're going to see all these different pads right here. Just buy a wool pad and buy one of these yellow pads like this right here. It's a heavy cut pad. Okay, 2 pads is all you need. Wool and yellow. All right, as far as equipment goes, any time that you buy a polisher, buy a 7-inch polisher that's variable speed. I like to have an always on button, and you can buy a really expensive one, or you can buy a real cheap one. And here, this is how we did it at my shop. The best guy got the cheapest or the lowest quality buffer. Give your best buffer to your worst guy, your new guy, because like a Makita, I'll tell you, Makita is probably the best polisher that's on the market. You can drop them things off the top of an 18-wheeler and they'll just bounce and keep on going. So, you put a cheap one in a guy's hand that's not used to having it in his hand, and he drops it, you got to go buy another one. So anyways, that's always been my policy. They sell this backing plate right here at O'Reilly's. Now, the backing plate that your machine comes with is a hard backing plate, and it doesn't have this nice foam edge to it. Okay, so it's just my preference. I like the foam edge because sometimes I like to feather my polishing. All right, now pad placement is extremely important on your buffer. You want to get it right in the middle. See, there's a hole right here in the middle, and after you use it a few times, you'll have a hole in the middle here. If you put this pad on improperly, I don't know, see that wobble. That wobble, when that hole isn't all the way in, when you're looking at it and it's going right in the middle, first thing that's going to happen is it can fling off and hurt somebody, just like that, like it happened just then. But the second thing is what's going to happen is your pad is going to hit harder on one side than it is the other if it's not perfectly centered. So even if it takes you 3 or 4 tries, I mean, look, before you put this on whatever you're going to polish, you want to make sure that pad is perfect. Okay, there we go. If you got a nice new fluffy pad, like this one's not all the way new, but if it's a fairly new pad, just by the amount of down pressure that you're putting on your pad you don't need yellow, blue, you don't need all these colors. This thing right here will do it all, okay? This is a medium cut wool pad. It's the only pad that you need if you do everything properly. All right, the other tool that we're going to use is this random Orbital Harbor Freight polisher. Okay, this machine behaves totally different. Okay, now instead of going around in a perfect circle like a high-speed buffer does, this one does that too. It goes around in a circle too, when there's not any pressure on it. But once you start putting pressure on it, it slows it down and it won't even stop it. And it just kind of vibrates it. Now this is the tool that you want to use wherever you're wanting to even out your finish after you polish it. This right here, if you have one of these, if you put swirl marks in the car, this is the easiest way to get rid of them. Okay? So you're going to need one of these tools. If you're doing this long term, or even if you're a novice, buy both. Buy your, if you're only going to do it once a year or whatever, and you don't think you're going to drop it, go to Harbor Freight, buy the $39 buffer, and then buy one of these. These are $59, but this right here, this is the difference between having a really good quality finished product and not, if you don't know, if you don't want to take like 10 steps to get it all done. So if you have these two machines, we got basically 3 steps that you can do to any condition of paint. By the way, if you don't have a car that's all scratched up, this right here, this will wax it. This will polish it. If you don't have oxidation, if it's not damaged paint, it's a 1-step deal instead of a 3-step deal. Your high-speed polisher is gonna be what you want to use if you have any oxidation or any imperfections. So this is instead of a finishing pad like we used to use a finishing machine. All right, the polishes that you're going to need to use. All right, now look, if you're a detail shop guy, or you're working in an automotive body shop or a dealership or whatever, you're going to be using Carbrite products, Automagic products. You're going to be Malco. You're going to have a whole bunch of stuff at your disposal that the guy that walks into the auto parts store looking at the shelf isn't going to have. So I've got it down to basically 3 different products, and I wish that I would have figured this out in the beginning before I bought thousands and thousands of dollars worth of product trying to figure it out. But if you have these 3 things, and it doesn't matter if it's Automagic car, it doesn't matter the brand, okay? This particular product, that's why I have the label covered up. This is just going to be a rubbing compound, a heavy cut rubbing compound. Then you're going to want to also have a medium cut compound or a light cut compound. And then you're going to want to have either a finishing polish or a wax. So you're basically going to have a 1, 2, 3 step process. And if your rubbing compound that you have isn't strong enough, they always have these things. You can get the wet dry sandpaper down. I use personally 800, but sometimes I use 1200. But 800 to 1200, if you use that, you can polish it out from there to go into here. So it's just whatever you want. Anything worse than that, go to this. After you do this, go back to this. It's just a step down, okay? All right, now, the other products that you're going to need is you're going to need some type of spray lube. I use the King's window cleaner because I'm down here in my production studio. It's not hot out. I don't have any direct sunlight. So, this is going to evaporate very quickly, but you can buy the Meguiar spray detailer, or if you don't want to buy a product and you have a spray bottle at home, just put some water and some car wash soap in a bottle, mix it up, and you can use that as your lube for your waxes and your compounds. And then the last product that you're going to need is some type of tire shine. And you could also use Vaseline or whatever. But what you're going to do with this is you're going to actually use this to prep all of your rubbers and your plastic moldings, or any of your trim that's textured that you don't want the wax to stick to, because when you're high-speed polishing, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to sling it everywhere. And so when you're done, it won't. The stuff you don't want it to stick to, it'll easily wipe off and save you a headache later. It'll make your customers happy too if you're a detail shop owner You know, you got a guy that's wiped all the trim back off, but 3 days later after it rains, it turns white again. If you put this on before, you don't have to. Some guys like to tape it off too. All right, so that's the introduction. That's the tools that you're going to need to follow the series. That's the products that you're going to need to follow the series. And the next video, we're going to actually go through the process of polishing. We're probably going to do that really bad side of that hood right there. Okay. All right. Thanks again, guys, for tuning into TC Time. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.